Right, hello everybody and welcome back to another Astral Energy Update here on QPW from myself, David, and
Bella. Hi everybody.
Okay, so we've been doing these over the last few weeks for a variety of reasons, mainly to also connect with all of you out there, our loyal followers on YouTube, also our tribe, our global tribe through quantumplanet.world, but also as a way of perhaps organizing our own thoughts and experiences and sharing them with all of you, maybe to help you do the same. So we've just come through a very powerful few days, right, Bella? There's a lot to say, and we're going to try and keep it succinct in this sort of 15-20 minute update. But yeah, we had an eclipse and, well, all kinds of things happening in the sky from the sun and even other celestial bodies. So where would you like to start, Bella? What are we going to talk about
let's
first?
start with the eclipse. So eclipses are normally a window of at least 3 days, the day before, the day of the eclipse, and the day after. You feel the effects a few weeks before and quite a long time after that. And they are moments of culmination, turning points. And this one was so special because it also had a new moon and a black moon Lilith on it. So there were many things about this eclipse that were telling us we're coming to a point of culmination of many things that have been going on, so that we can do the jump into what's the new template for humanity and for the earth.
Right, and of course, if you've been following these recent energy updates, or indeed the quantum compass, or indeed any of the work that we've been doing really on QPW for most of this year, you'll know that we've been talking a lot about the Mayan wave spells, and particularly the one we're in, which is the blue magnetic storm. But as Bella has shared previously, this is also the year of the blue cosmic storm, right?
The blue rhythmic storm.
Blue rhythmic storm,
so
sorry.
From the 26th of July, in the quantum compass, I've said a few times, we started the year of the storm. And we are in the middle of the wave spell of the storm, which was also a double storm. So it's a storm everywhere, just indicating this is the moment. This is the moment that we need the catalyzing energy. We've had the solar flares yesterday, and today it has been the maximum an X flare of 9.05, which is the highest in this sun cycle. So we've had the energy of the sun through this eclipse as well, through the annular eclipse, giving us the energy that we needed to finish this process of catalyzing and purifying, so that our light codes can be finally activated and our consciousness can be expanded, so we can access the new reality. But that is something that each one of us does. It's not something that is done for us. Each one of us is in charge of liberating ourselves, or freeing ourselves from the programs and everything that has kept us blocked, so that we can jump. That's basically
Right, so today is day 10, day of manifestation of that wave spell, and even with the, we could say, chaotic energies that a storm brings, there is also the catalyzing energy, which is really a day 2, excuse me, of any wave spell. So I guess a lot of this really, Bella, has been about how have each of us, even the collective, been working with the chaos energy to catalyze it into a higher form, so that we can really, I guess, perhaps utilize the benefits of what yesterday's eclipse was about. I mean, visually, a annular eclipse with that ring of fire looks a bit like a stargate or a jump point. Many people are talking about this on various channels, and we would concur with that in some ways, but also maybe look at it slightly differently. It's like, well, what's jumping where, or who's jumping in, who's jumping out, and is that directly affecting us here on planet Earth? Well, we can say really that we are the stargates. Our internal quantum technology has a stargate aspect to it. However, as we've talked about, not just in the recent astral clearings and teaching sessions, but really across the last few years, due to the manipulations, due to the programs, the astral technology from other extraterrestrial beings, due to traumas, that technology, our own innate inner quantum technology, has not really been functioning properly. Now, from the point of view of the energy realms over the last few days, and I would say really over the last few weeks, what happened with the eclipse yesterday really felt like we had shifted. Individually, collectively, we shifted. Not that we went through a stargate and went somewhere else, as many people have thought was going to happen, but really that the frequency of the planet shifted. Now, personally, I can say that even though that was the biggest, solar flares and X-class flares we had yesterday, it didn't really affect me. If it did, it was really positive, because I felt great for most of the afternoon. However, I'm going to talk briefly now about how I felt prior to the eclipse and post-eclipse, because they're quite different experiences. And maybe some of you might have also felt the same. So just to share from that point of view, my interpretations as an astral traveler, and also how those energies tend to play out. So in the run-up to the eclipse, I would say yesterday morning and the day before, in the astral planes, the energy was basically pandemonium, chaos, utter terror in places, as the collective at the subconscious or even unconscious level, we can say, started to process the, well, we can say cascade of information that is sweeping through, not the mainstream news because hardly anybody watches that anymore, but the alternative news streams, particularly some of the social media streams. There is just a litany of information coming out about particularly the entertainment industry. As many of you will know, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and once that penetrated the collective consciousness, the rest of the iceberg was being experienced unconsciously. So in the astral planes, that's what I experienced. I experienced all of those emotions through the collective experience, and also my own version of that too, which I still needed to do some tidying up work with. So that was really the energy leading into the eclipse, but coming out of the eclipse, having done all of that, the energy started to settle down, particularly once the real eclipse window closed, which I think was about 4 or 5 hours in total. And as some of our colleagues, also with their great shows recently showed, that eclipse only really passed over Easter Island and the tip of South America, all of which is very interesting in its own right, and not necessarily what we're going to be talking about today directly. But just wanted to share that because many people have been having digestion problems, not being able to eat, not being able to sleep. Yeah, maybe sleep has been a little challenging. I would say personally a little bit overactivation, too much. Wow, like what's going on? Maybe some of you are on the opposite end of the spectrum, and just really want to say at this point actually a huge heartfelt prayer to all of our brothers and sisters, particularly our watchers and our tribe members who've been messaging us, particularly from North Carolina and Tennessee. We've been tracking that. It doesn't look good. We can see that something very catastrophic has happened there. Again, lots of rabbit hole ideas about all of that. We have our own theories, perhaps again not the place to share that, but in this moment just actually a heart connection to our brothers and sisters. We've been praying for you, as I know many of the rest of you watching this will have been too. And we can also tell from other energies that seem to be pervading the planet that there are other catastrophic things going on, not just in the Middle East. We don't know how much of that is really real from the footage, but in other parts of the world where there is no reports coming from, which is a little suspicious in itself, we sense that there are also other things not in the collective visual awareness. So just with that global perspective, really asking all of you to be deep in that place of compassion, especially if you're in a relatively good place. Understand that maybe that is not true for so many people. So again, just re-emphasizing that prayer for our brothers and sisters.
Yes, and this process, especially this wave spell we're in the middle, well, we're almost finishing, is day 10 today, the day of manifestation. So what is clear is that it's here to support the process of liberation of humankind, liberation of our mind, liberation of the planet, liberation of the dependency on resources, and many other things. So obviously the battleground kind of amped up, both sides trying to gain control or liberate the planet. So one for gaining control, one for freeing the planet. And I wanted to mention here, for those of you that are more connected to the work that is being done with the galactic codes, which of the stars were exactly activated as this eclipse was happening at 10 degrees of Libra. And one specific one was Vindematrix, which is one of the stars that is connected to the Pegasus stellar nation and to the cosmic humans. And it's about justice from the perspective of the feminine, which is more inclusive, which worries about the children, which worries about nature, the one that is about creation and keeping humanity free and well nurtured. The other one that was activated, so we had the Pegasus and the cosmic humans. Another one for the cosmic humans was Diadema, which is at 9 degrees of Libra as well. And this one is the freedom path, the feminine path for freedom. So it's just reaffirming the previous one so that we can get soul purification. Another one that got activated was Purima at 11 of Libra. And they all have very similar themes. Another one is Auva at 10 also of Libra, which is also about the womb, the feminine, the healing of the children that are the victims of a lot of what's been going on and we're getting to hear about. It's about protecting the children from now on so that those things don't repeat. So we've gotten to a point of culmination of everything that is been happening with the trafficking and the slavery and all of the horrible things that we're saying no more, because the goddess is returning and the goddess is saying, I'm going to take care of my children, and this is not going to happen anymore. That's not allowed. We need to take care of plants. We need to nurture. It's the cosmic mother energy with lots of compassion and the feminine empathy.
Right, so a lot of what Bella is really talking about here is our higher octave, our DNA coding. We have these 13 strands. Again, we talk a lot about the stellar nations here, and for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's a whole cosmic history of all of our off-planet ancestors, the Syrians, the Pleiadians, the Nibiruans, the Arcturans, and many others, all of which we carry the DNA coding within, which is really what the Sun, who's also a part of this, is a Pleiadian being looking for his own redemption path. So he is overseeing a lot of what is happening down here, which is why so many of his solar flares and storms are so precisely timed to coincide with things like the eclipse. There is no coincidences, there are no accidents, everything is synchronized deliberately. And once you understand that, you understand that the Sun is the conductor of this operation. Why? Because he also wants to evolve. He also had to clean up his own mess, as myself and Leslie talked about in the Cosmic History Codes earlier this year by tracking the Cazimis. The Sun was talking to all of the planets and giving us messages about his own journey, which has now come to a particular point. So the cosmic human really is the culmination of the 13 strands of DNA getting fully activated in us, and then it starts to shift to a higher octave. But it can't do that, we can say a 26th octave really, it can't do that until all of the 13 strands have been integrated. Now, one of the interesting things that happened this weekend, just gone, on the 29th of September, was that it was Michaelmas. Michaelmas is the celebration of three particular archangels, Archangel Michael, or Michael as we call him, Gabriel and Raphael. Now, we did a very powerful clearing session, astral clearing. I thank you again to everyone who participated in that. It's having a huge effect, and I think a lot of what I experienced prior to the eclipse but post the session on Sunday was a reflection of what was happening in the astral planes. Michael's job is to slay the dragon. Now, we all have dragon codes within us, that's okay. Dragons are wonderful beings. They're part of the elemental makeup of the environment. They're also very much part of the protection of the divine codes of the universe. So they are very, very important in this regard. However, many dragons in the cosmic story fell, and then they also got mixed up with the fallen angels. So really a lot of what we've been seeing with the entertainment industry is unfortunately some of these lower codes of our own DNA. Now, there's a lot more to all of this. There's a whole 13 nation pathway, which you can also find further on quantumplanet.world. Far too much to talk about here. But really what we're looking at is the collective repairing, recalibration of incoherent or corrupted DNA within us. However, because of all of the things that we talk about on these astral clearings on the Sundays, things like programs and technology inserted into our energy field, into our physical bodies, it's actually been almost impossible to access the fifth dimension and indeed other 6th, 7th, 8th dimensional realities or beings easily and consistently, because there just hasn't been a consistent connection, we can say. However, as many of us are receiving these light codes, getting more and more activated, receiving more and more light, these codes are not only getting activated, but they're getting fully integrated. So this is where I find things interesting, Bella, that for many people they ascribe many symptoms to the solar flares, and yet we ourselves have tracked them and generally found that the days of the high intensity solar flares, we actually feel really good.
So what we're trying to say here is that most of the things that make us feel not right, as the amount of energy from the sun is coming through, is if you still have something to deal with in the astral, the 4D. So emotional issues, traumas, anything else that still needs to come out, any shadow that still needs to come out. And with all of this situation that has been happening around the world, with the disclosure of the entertainment industries and all of these CEOs from big corporations stepping down for the last few weeks, more and more people, soon it will be connected to the politicians, including presidents and, high profile people. So all of them will be named, all of that is being cleansed, and the more that we clear in the astrals, the more of a smoother process it will be. But it means that you also need to put conscious awareness into what part of you needs to still be integrated.
Right, and many people have talked about a bifurcation point. I mean, probably if you're watching this video, you've already made the bifurcation jump, and I wouldn't worry about it too much. However, maybe you have and are plugged in, mass or menace to what we're saying here on this video, but maybe you have family members or friends who aren't so much. There is a tricky part to all of this, which is called sovereignty. And as much as our hearts might want other people to come on this journey with us, they may have got completely different soul contracts. And so I remember something that one of my teachers said to me a long time ago in the Amazon. He said, David, you're going to come to a point where you're going to look left and right, and many brothers and sisters will be with you, and there'll be quite a few behind you, and you're going to face a moment where if you wait for them, you run the risk of being pulled back onto the other timeline. That's not beneficial for you. You then can't help the people who are with you. And so it sounds maybe a little cold, but it's a very fifth dimensional kind of perspective that you have to be sovereign. If people are reaching out to you and saying, I need help, as many people are with us at the moment and many other communities and tribal leaders and healers are also dealing with, then of course we are going to help. We're not going to say, no, we're not going to help. But at the same time, if we are trying to force our idea of what other people, we think other people need, then maybe we're not actually giving them the chance to be empowered and to be sovereign. So there's a real fine balancing point here, which we've had to talk about quite a bit and to allude to, because it is an important part of this process. As we can see from the last 4 years of the offered medications, some people accepted them, some people didn't. And so that was a choice that we all made. And everywhere along the way, there are always choices. And it's no good to say, hey, somebody made me do this. Somebody did this. There is always a choice in any situation. Sometimes it's bad or really bad, but there's still a choice. And some of us have already made very, very difficult choices, let go of so many things to the point where we almost don't own anything. However, that's also part of the fifth dimension, because if we're attached to something materially, then it's something that can actually cause us suffering because we might fear losing it. These are very fifth dimensional perspectives, and that's not to say that we mustn't enjoy the material world. That's not about it at all, but it's about where we have attachments, right, Bella?
Yes, it's about understanding that everything is energy, and we can manifest anything we want, but for that we need to have done our inner work and come to a place of expanded consciousness where we understand that we are part of the earth and we're part of everything, and all we need to do is align ourselves with the frequency of what we're trying to manifest or the kind of reality we want to experience.
Right, so just to loop back again just to this Sunday just gone, one of the really powerful energies that wanted to free itself was that of the angelic energy, particularly for those of us who've got fallen angel codes. There are a lot of people on the planet who have those. If you don't know whether you have those or not, I would suggest if it hasn't come up for you already in this life, it's probably not something for you to worry about. And if it has come up for you, then you're probably working on it. So this is where we need to be able to look inside very deeply and say how much in this life, or maybe in other parallel timelines and dimensions, have I been a fallen angel, and what does my soul need to let go of? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it self-admonishment? All of those things. They're very deeply felt emotions in the 3D by fallen angels because of many things that fallen angels participated in. However, that's also part of the great story of the universe, and it's not necessarily something that needs to have any emotions attached to it. It's an experience. There are good sides to that, we can say, and bad sides to that, but really those are also just perspectives. So as we understand that we carry these different elements, what we can also start to understand is that the fifth dimension energy really is that of the goddess, of creativity, of unconditional love. In the Stellar Nations world, it's deeply connected to the great feline beings, the cats, who, as we know from across the planet, have been hunted almost to extinction. This is another reflection of the energy of the goddess almost being driven to the point of complete absence. That is what needs to change. That is what is changing. In fact, one of the beautiful things I saw yesterday was the arrival of the powerful great feline, we can say, assistants, very, very powerful technology that is being deployed immediately across the planet to deal with some of the, we can say, more difficult situations that are happening in places like the Middle East. Everything from the perspective up there looks under control. What we are seeing on the television might present a different story, which is why many of us are advising not necessarily not to watch it, but just not to pay too much attention to it. And certainly don't watch it with emotional triggers, because at a quantum level, you might actually end up participating in creating more of the same. So we have to be very, very careful about all of this. And as we enter into a fifth dimensional, more conscious realm, instant consciousness realm, we start to understand that the thoughts that come through our mind can manifest instantly, as we have seen, right, in really beautiful ways. However, if we allow ourselves to slip into a more negative mind space, we can say chances are that we might call in something that we don't want just by being errant in our thinking.
Right. So we're going to carry on our clearings. We have 7 more weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is 4 out of 10. Yeah, so I guess we have 7 more.
Okay. And so in the previous ones, we've been doing sessions or conversations and teachings after the clearing, where we already mentioned emotional entities. We talked about ETs and the trackers, markers, and all of this technology. We talked about the shedding and toxicity from the jabs and other toxicity from graphene and many other things. And now we're going to go into the DNA, which is very important, the DNA coding and how we need to also upgrade our DNA. And that is what the sun is doing for us now.
Right, a lot to talk about the energy of the sun beings, also very much related to the Leo energy, to the great cats of Egypt, particularly the lion beings. A lot to say around all of that, and we'll be going into that in a lot more detail. But also what we really wanted to share today, Bella, is because of the importance of the moment we're in and how many people are reaching out for healings and clearings, is that that's why we put these group clearings together, but also because we know that many people are in financial difficulties, we are doing a donation-based offer for this week. Now, all of the details are on the website link, which we'll put in the show notes below. But basically, we're offering 2 additional tiers to what we've been doing before. Up to, you can make a donation up to basically from $1 upwards. And with that, you can be included in the energetic aspect of the clearing. We do a roll call at the beginning of every clearing, because many people are, like in Australia and New Zealand, who are 17 hours ahead of us, are actually asleep when we're doing these clearings. Some beautiful souls still turn up in person, but obviously people need to sleep at this time. So we're offering the possibility on a donation-based offer to be called in to receive the energetic clearings, which whether you're on the live call or not really doesn't make any difference, because it's quantum healing in the astral realm. Yeah. We also have a recommended donation of $26, which is to participate in all aspects of this week's clearing. We've had to do it this way because we can only have 100 people on the call for all kinds of technological and logistical reasons. We're already over the halfway point of that, and we wanted to offer that now through this video to all of our watchers on YouTube so that you can participate. We're also allowing, particularly through the donation offer, for you to nominate children if you are the guardian of them, if they're under the age of 16, or if you have family members, brothers, sisters, parents, even friends, who don't necessarily understand what this is all about, but are open to receive the healings and give you permission to give us permission to call them in. That is a critical point. If you are in the place of assuming that somebody could do with this and you want to nominate them without their permission, please don't. That's going to have exactly the opposite effect, because that's psychic trespass. We've talked about that a lot, but want to be very clear about that. And that's kind of looping back to what I was saying earlier. Even with the best of intentions, people need to show up for themselves. You're showing up for yourself if you're participating, and if other people agree to it, they're also showing up, but that's the deal. So you can find out more details about all of that, right, Bella, on the website. But just really wanted to put that into your awareness, because we understand that many people now need their energy fields clearing. And the good news is that the obstructing forces are not as present as they were, and so clearing of the energy field and then the release into the emotional awareness of the individual can allow greater healing to happen, which then allows this DNA to get more easily activated. So it's kind of a process.
Right, so it's a short video just to invite you again. You can participate in one clearing or in all of the next ones. The donation offer is only for this specific one, because we feel is the last push of the collective on this point of liberation.
Yeah, the truth is that the 5th dimension is here, fully on the planet. Mother Earth is ascending, that is going on, and people are like, but I don't see anything. Like, why is it not on the TV? Why can't I see anything in the sky? That's because it's in here. The inner quantum world is inside, and when you sit and meditate, when you do your journey work, you will start to see the activation going on. And wherever you put your conscious awareness, when those codes are activated, you will start to receive information about yourself, about your journey as a soul being in the universe, and what you're doing here on this planet at this time, because nothing is a coincidence. And like I say, one of the beautiful things that I saw last night was the arrival of the goddess, Great Mother Cat, returning as an aspect of the universal goddess to really bring the balance back of the feminine back into this world. And that is going to have such a huge catalytic, pun intended, change on our environment in a way that we can't really imagine, because it's so long since many of us actually experienced that the last time. You know, the so-called golden age was driven by the energy of the great felines. And any of you have been to Egypt and connected with Sekhmet, energy, you will understand what that's all about. But also this is the return of the winged lions, which is leadership. The lion beings represent leadership, and they are almost kind of like the pinnacle of the cat energy. But Great Mother Cat wishes to bring that energy of the heart in as well, right, Bella?
Yes. So we invite you here to help us clear the astrals, clear yourselves, and bring the templates of the goddess, which the goddess is nature. The goddess is the spirit connected to Mother Earth, which is always about taking care of everybody, making sure everybody is nurtured, loved, and with compassion for all the beings here, especially the children, who is, it's our future. We really need to take care of them now.
And also to say, we've said this before, where one goes, we all go. And even if you find some of the material very difficult and you want to blame people, there are many, many victims all the way up the food chain. And this is where we really get to be as fifth dimensional as possible, is that we have compassion for all beings who participated in this experiment on planet Earth. And that's really where we start to shift, is by finding that deep compassion and leaving judgment back on the old paradigms and timelines. That's it for this week, everybody. We will be putting out a Quantum Compass show tomorrow, so please do watch out for that. It's our next round of navigational tips and tools to see what happens next, because we're absolutely in new territory, the territory of New Earth. See you all again soon.
Bye.
Bye.